Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Toastmasters meeting. You should all be receiving an acknowledgement that this meeting is being recorded. My name is Gary Newper, and I'll be serving as the Sergeant at Arms this evening. If you will please all mute yourselves and follow along as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would now like to hand the meeting over to our one and only president, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart.
Thank you, Gary. Great job. Also like the haircut. Like your hair as well, Shay. Very cute. All right, so welcome to another Monday night meeting. I am your host and president, Shastri. We do have our Toastmaster of the day, which will be, who's the Toastmaster today? Michelle. Oh, Michelle, the one and only Michelle will be our Toastmaster today. Before we start, I'd like to share our mission statement. I don't believe we do have any guests. I do not see any guests. Nope, no guests. All right. All right, so our mission statement is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. Now, before I pass the baton over to Michelle, if you're not able to provide constructive feedback via chat, please do so at the end of the meeting via the group WhatsApp form. So we do encourage that you do provide that in the chat. If you're not able to, if you're multitasking, if you have a role and you're not able to do that, please do that in the WhatsApp chat. So without further ado, we'll pass the meeting over to our Toastmaster of the day, the lovely Michelle.
You can unmute, Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Shastri Stewart. Welcome to this prodigious club, Wellington Toastmasters, on our way to becoming the President's Club. 2020 is behind us and we are forging ahead in 2021. I just wanted to make sure that we have in our bag what it takes to be simply the best. We perhaps are already simply the best, but we have so many great speakers here this evening. We want to make sure and ensure that each one of you give your best. Give your best to Wellington Toastmasters. We are here to cultivate thought, evoke proper speech habits, and today we want to do nothing different but to continue that trend. Thank you so much for joining us. At this time, I will continue to serve as your Toastmaster and Master of Ceremonies. For the benefit of our guests, we may not have any today, but I am hosting your program today, and there are 3 different sections: formal speeches, table topics, and evaluations. Throughout the meeting, our members have the opportunity to practice their listening, critical thinking, and management skills by serving in various roles. I will give each one a chance to explain their roles. Julie Graves, Toastmaster Julie Graves, please explain your role as our counter.
Michelle, Julie's still busy joining, so maybe
okay.
we can come back to her.
Okay, so our grammarian, would you please go ahead and give us the word of the day?
Certainly, Toastmaster of the Day. One benefit of Toastmasters is that it helps people improve their grammar and word use. Being grammarian provides an exercise in expanding listening skills. I have several responsibilities: to introduce new words to members, to comment on the language used during the course of the meeting, and to provide examples of eloquence. I'm going to share my screen for the word of the day. Our word of the day this evening is prodigious. It's an adjective and it means remarkably or impressively great in extent, size, or degree. Used in a sentence, Toastmasters will make you a prodigious speaker.
Thank you.
I encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting this evening to use the word prodigious, our word of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary Newper, for that word of the day. I would strongly encourage each one to take note of that word and use it to the best of their ability. Before I go further, I have invited a guest. She's now signing on. Her name is Sonia. Welcome, Sonia. Thank you so much for joining us. Toastmaster Julie Graves, are you ready?
Yes.
Can you kindly explain your role as our counter for the group?
Toastmaster of the day. The purpose of the counter is to note any word or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections. For those who, wait a minute. Oh, for those who use inappropriate words, I will shine the flashlight and keep track of the words throughout the meeting and give a report at the end of the meeting. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Julie Graves. Let's give her a round of applause as we continue our applause for the evening. I would also strongly encourage you to provide feedback to the speakers, functionaries, as suggested before in the chat, and also after the meeting in the WhatsApp. Toastmaster Sonia Garate, can you please explain your role as general timer?
Certainly, Toastmaster of the Day. As timer, I am responsible for checking the time for each part of tonight's meeting. I will operate the timing signals to indicate speech length. Timing begins with the first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. As timer, whoever is speaking or has control of the meeting, please pay attention if you see a red color behind me, as it means you get to wrap up as quickly, professionally as possible. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sonia Garate. And I'd just like to pause a moment again to welcome our dignitary, High on Green. Thank you so much for joining us today. My pleasure. Again, we have Toastmaster Shay Graves. She will explain her role as the general evaluator today. Shay Graves, you have the floor.
Hi, thank you, Toastmaster Michelle. If one thinks of a club meeting as a project, I am the project leader or inspector. I get to give live feedback on the overall quality and flow of the functions of the roles, as well as future feedback as to improvements. Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle.
Thank you so much. And now we will have our table topics master, Toastmaster Michelle Nimhard. Please explain your role to our guests and our members. Thank you.
Thank you. This evening, table topics. Table topic is a section of the meeting where it's the fun section where we get to speak impromptu out of your heart, unrehearsed topics, unrehearsed things that you want to say. So I will share a topic and then you will speak 1 to 2 minutes on that. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Micheline Nemhard. Toastmaster Micheline Nemhard. The first section of our meeting is the formal speeches, which are prepared speeches based on specific projects in our communication manuals or our pathway program. This evening, we have 2 speakers. Mr. President, is that correct?
We have three speakers.
Three
We have
speakers.
3 speakers. Thank you so much for that change in the agenda. Toastmaster Jack Miller. He will be the speech evaluator for speaker number 1. Please provide us with the project information for our first speaker. Toastmaster Jack Miller.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. The purpose of this project is for the member to determine their style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around a central message. Mark's speech today is to be determined. So with that in mind, I would think that knowing Mark to be simply the best and most prodigious speaker on humor I know, I'm sure he'll be putting out powerful, productive, passionate pleas for prosperity.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jack Miller, for your evaluation. At this time, timer, would you please demonstrate the timing signals for the project?
Certainly, Toastmaster of the Day. So speakers, tonight I am debuting for the first time that I'm using it, the timing video, which looks like this. And you will not see me, but you will see a countdown of the time as you speak, and the colors will change as we go along. So please look out for the green, the yellow, and the red. For the speeches, you will see green at 5 minutes, you will see yellow at 6 minutes, and you will see red at 7 minutes. At 7 minutes and 30 seconds, I will clap off the speaker. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sonia Garate. Timer, Sonia Garate. Because all speeches are same in length, we will not repeat this after each speech, correct? Okay. Toastmaster Mark Kessler. You are very funny guy, and I expect nothing less than simply the best of your humor and your zestful delivery. Toastmaster Mark Kessler.
Mic check. Everybody hears me? Wonderful. Good evening, Toastmasters, dignitary, and guest. My name is Mark Kessler, and I'm here tonight to enjoy a few moments together to express a very big concern of mine, and hopefully yours as well. The voices in your head, as well as in mine. Raise of hands. How many have alternate voices that you listen to, ignore, try to make shut up in any way, shape, or form through the course of a day? Hands? Hands, anybody? Okay, if your hands are down, then you're not telling the truth, Gary Newberg. With that, I would like to share with you a small story regarding the voices in my head. Voices can vary from different people from around the world. They could be Russian, they could be British, they could be Italian, either or. Whatever it is, the voices that are in my head are trying to give me information that usually is prodigious in a way that I can learn from on so many different levels. But most of the time, the information that my voices are sharing with me are completely useless. Most of the time, I could just be walking down the road and I'll hear a voice say in my head, it'll say, wow, you really should have went to the bathroom before you left. Watch out for that cat just ran across the road there. You don't want to trip over it. As I'm trying to go to sleep, I can hear the voices in my head wanting to have a conversation about things that I have no interest in. 3 of the 4 voices are telling it to shut up. The other one wants to go to sleep. Then the other 2 might chime in. It's a very confusing environment within my head. And I'm hoping that within yours, it's not quite the same. But if it is, I give you some words of advice. There are ways that we can overcome these voices, not by joining in and listening to them, but by actually observing the voices and stepping a little bit further back. Here's a thought. I hate it when my voices go silent because I never know what they're planning. Very important for me to understand when it goes silent, there's something going on and I got to pay close attention. So I'd like to ask you a question. What voices do you listen to most? There's 3 topics in which I'm going to cover tonight. Number 1, which of the voices that you listen to most in your head? Are they the negative Nellies? The ones that want to bash you, make you feel guilty, make you have doubt, worry, fear? Or are you listening to the compassionate ones? The ones that want you to practice forgiveness, patience, and love for yourself? That's what I'd like for you to think about tonight. The object here, and what my experience is that listening or observing, this is point 2 for us, listening or observing. Are you listening to the voices in your head most of the time, or are you observing them? Are you recognizing the negative thoughts that you have traveling back and forth in your mind? A lot of times our minds are like a train station. There are trains constantly running through with thoughts and voices and conversations. Most of you, like right now, might be thinking, did I shut the oven off? Who fed the cat? Who let the cat out? Did somebody let the cat back in? What is this guy talking about? I don't have any voices in my head. But I'm looking at everybody and nobody's lips are moving, so somebody's talking to you. Here's the thing. A voice, a train will be stopping by in your port every few seconds. Stacy likes to refer to it like 80,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thinking. That's a lot of chitter chatter in your minds too. I call it monkey mind. And with that, I've learned through one book that I'd read, which was The Untethered Soul, that graciously my friend Jack Miller turned me on to. It allowed me to learn to step back from all the crazy thoughts that were going on in my mind and to observe them more clearly. Asking myself, is this true information or is this not true? To observe what the mind is putting out there. Is it really something I need to be listening to or not? Interesting points. What I'm asking you is to be patient with yourself. Third part of what we're going to be discussing here. Be patient with yourself. Why? Because most of us took years and years to screw ourselves up with all these voices, right? Yes. It's very important to be patient when you're starting to learn to work with your mind and all your voices. Working with them diligently to step back from the conversation rather than, what was that again? I don't think I heard it quite clearly. Here's the thought for your mind. Quote from Louise Hayes, "You've been criticizing yourself for so many years. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." Give that one a spin. Might be something of value. I'd like to share with you one last thing. Some of you will go to sleep tonight. Some of you may stay up all night. What on earth was this guy talking about? with all the chitter chatter. Put a couple thoughts in there for your mind, your voices to calm down, relax. We've got this. Just go to sleep. Get a good night's rest. We'll talk about it in the morning or not. The choice is yours. Toastmasters, thank you very much. Back to you, Michelle. Have a great evening. I'll be joining you soon.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. I do listen to voices, but the thing is, I don't ever talk back. I love your negative Nellies. I love how you phrase that, but I also learned a lot about being compassionate. Thank you so much for your speech tonight. Moving right along, we have our second speaker for the evening, Stacey Kessler. Toastmaster Shashri Stewart is the evaluator for speaker number 2. Please provide us with the project information for a second speaker.
No, I believe the evaluator for speaker number 3.
I am Evaluator 2.
I stand corrected. So, Toastmaster Sujana, could you please give us the speaker for the second speaker, project name, and something about her speech? Thank you so much.
Sure. Stacey Kessler's pathway is effective. She's at level 2 now, which is understanding your leadership style. Her speech is going to be from 5 to 7 minutes, and her project title is Getting to Know Me. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Again, the effervescent Stacey Kessler will, in no doubt, give you a prodigious speech this evening and enlighten your mind and set you straight in a few things. Thank you so much. Stacey, you have the floor.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, our dignitary, and our distinguished guest this evening. My request to you is to get yourself a pencil and a paper because you may want to take notes this evening. I have 2 points that I'd like to bring across this evening. The first point is I'd like to share with you a way to get to know myself and a way to get to know yourself within you, the leader in you. Who is that leader in you? The second is to introduce you to a platform called Pathways, which is our education platform, and it has a prodigious, incredible effect on the way that I have learned to play my Toastmasters role as being the president of this Toastmasters Club for the past 3 years, and turning the baton over to all of these prodigious leaders that we have here now. I would like for you to have an understanding of me so that I could possibly understand you to a whole nother level. So we're going to go over the 5 attributes of a successful leader. The first asset of a successful leader is how to be an effective communicator. How do you feel that you communicate as a leader? Well, today I got to do a really fun quiz. And that quiz, I'm going to share the screen with you so I can bring you into my Pathways back office here, because I always have so much fun with this. If you could see my screen, give me a thumbs up, please. Great. Discovering your leadership style. What I love about the way that Toastmasters International has put together this platform for us is that we not only get to utilize the skill set in our speeches, in our Toastmasters clubs, but this, at the end of every survey that they give you, they even ask you, the 5th question, if you remember, is, do you feel like this assignment is going to support you in all areas of your life? And I always mark that a level 5. And today, after being I'm 52. I'm going to be turning 53 in just another month or so. I have been in business for 35 years, and I learned all different kinds of leadership styles, even after reading John Maxwell's many books, which one of my favorite quotes from John Maxwell is, "Leaders become great, not just because of their power, but because of their power to empower others." Empowerment. Today I learned that I was an altruistic leader. As you can see, my scores here, 24, 23, 22, 20, they're pretty close. But what I loved about this was how it went over each attribute of what these leadership skills brought forward. So today I learned that I was an altruistic leader, and it was the perfect headline for my speech, was learning all about me today, which was very unusual because usually I love to learn all about you, but we're going to get there. So if you are an altruistic leader, this is a leader that personalizes approaches to meet the individualized needs of the team. This leader leads in order to better serve others. This leader also motivates by their empowering ethical approach. We focus on active listening, empathy, and commitment to building community. And this style can be ineffective. So it gave the ineffective ways of this leadership styles as well, if not given sufficient time to apply a long-term perspective. There was all different styles here. I am on the path of persuasive leadership. If you are interested in this path next, which we hope you're getting there soon, this is a test that's in there that is a pretty amazing test, and it has a lot of different quizzes in there that give you some new insight on who am I? If you really knew me, you know that that's one of my favorite questions. Who are you? Being an effective communicator, I feel, has given me a purpose in learning how to communicate what the expectations are, the goals and the plans with others in a direct, concise, and thoughtful manner. And my dear friend Shay, when I met Shay not too long ago, a few years ago, she came up to me the first time she met me and she said, "Boy, are you direct." And I was saying, wow, I would like to learn more about what the context of what she meant of that. It was an interesting conversation. Effective communicator also, I always say this, how do you listen? Do you listen to hear, or do you hear to listen? That's a good one to ponder and write down. We lead by example. I do it, and you watch me do it. You do it, and then I watch you. And then you're on your own to do it. Those 4 steps in leadership I've carried all the way through my 35 years in business. I do it, you watch. You do it, I watch. You do it. Write those 4 things down. I bet they'll change your life when it comes to allowing everyone to step into their powers. Another one of my favorite quotes by John Maxwell is, "Leaders become great, not just because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others." All of these powerful things that we say stepping into our power is all about the empowerment of others. And I myself got to learn a little bit more about myself. Being optimistic. Optimism is the ability to focus on the beneficial side of situations and expect positive outcomes. So if you really knew me, you know that expectations are really not in my language that I speak, because expectations typically bring you down the rabbit hole that Mark talked about, where we don't feel like we're good enough because we had an expectation of someone or something, and we don't always have control of anything, so we just don't go in with any kind of expectation, but we do lay out what the plan is. Demonstrating integrity. Demonstrating integrity is what we're going to do now, because right now the screen says red, and integrity will lead us always to be on time. And I want to just say to each and every one of you, fellow Toastmasters, it's been an honor this evening to stand before you, as you have been an inspiring audience. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Stacey Kessler. Indeed, we have gotten a little bit more insight into your altruistic style of leadership. Thank you so much. At this time, we will move on to our third speaker. I will now call on Toastmaster Shastri Stewart to give an introduction into the third speaker.
Absolutely, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, friends of Toastmasters and guests. I will be evaluating our Toastmaster, Jan Green. She will be given a speech. I believe it's an elective speech on L3. Speech title, A Second Career That Got Away. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety to enhance her speech. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. We appreciate each time that our dignitary Hyan Green brings to us a wealth of information. Toastmaster Hyan Green, you have the floor.
Looking at everyone on my screen, every one of you, I believe the question I'm going to ask you is a little too premature for all of you, even including you, Jack. Have you ever thought about a second career that you want to embark on after you retire? I am not talking about a second career that's prodigious. I'm talking about something practical, something you can do right away after you retire. I've been thinking about it for months. You know, I read a magazine, and when in the magazine, I read about people who turned their strong hobby into their second career. Teacher turned programmer. A programmer turned a luxury yacht salesman. All kinds of things. I'm sure you know these people as well in your life. So whenever I am watching TV commercial these days, not that I watch TV too much, I'm thinking, I can be that sweaty woman on Peloton. I can play that. Or I may not have the body for a lingerie model, but I can be a hand model for a soap or a moisturizer. I've been thinking all kinds of things that I could do after I retire, something fun. One day I decided, Hyun, you're not gonna just think about it, you need to put that into action. Guess what I did? I Googled and found a modeling agency which is located in Boca Raton. I dropped my resume and I didn't really expect much. Seriously, I'm thinking, hey, if they call, fine. If they don't call, fine as well. I have nothing to lose. 2 days later, I received an email. The first line on the email said, Hyun, you made a short list of promising models for my agency, and I want you to call me at your earliest convenience. I was so excited. I called Giovanni right away. I didn't even read the entire email. It was like 3 or 4 paragraphs. After first paragraph, I called Giovanni. And he was very happy to hear from me. He said, oh, you read about the $50 fee that's refundable. I said, yeah, no problem. And he said I had to bring 5 outfits for the photo shoot, and I will have to dedicate the entire day because it's going to take quite a while. I may have to take a day off, or they can give me maybe a Saturday or Sunday, and they'll find the time for me. So I thought that was great, how nice. And he said, did you read my entire email? I said, no. I'm ready to come down. In the second paragraph, as I was talking with him, I'm reading the email. Second paragraph, it talked about $399 fee for portfolio. Fine. Portfolio, you know what that is. They will give me the sets of pictures and they will help me land the job. Great job. So I said, what does that $350 entail? So it will give you enough pictures to send to different agencies for your modeling job. I said, I don't know anybody. Who's going to help me? How do I know where to send my pictures? Giovanni said, well, at an extra cost, we can mentor you and coach you to find different jobs or land different roles in many different agencies. You can imagine the letdown I had. Until that call, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I am going to be so busy being successful as a model. I will have to say goodbye to Wellington Toastmasters, you mortals, because I'll be so busy, I won't have time. Well, all that went out the door. My dream came crashing down to this earth. Well, obviously, you know what I learned from this experience. Stick to my day job. But really, what I want to share with you, fellow Toastmasters, you can really turn your hobby or hobbies into your second career, but please, don't wait. Don't wait until you're ready to retire. You really have to start working on it 10 years prior, maybe 15 years prior, and test the market slowly. Don't do what I did, and I know I will not be a model. I will have to stick to my day job, but for you, fellow Toastmasters, dream on. Turn your hobby into a second career and enjoy it. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. I am sure that gave a lot of us a lot of thought to come. And Hyon, you delivered an excellent speech, The Career That Got Away. At this time, we would like to have the polls, if possible, General Timer, for.
Yes, they are ready.
Okay.
Eric, we can launch them.
We can launch the polls now. Thank you so much.
Another 3, 2, 1. Closing the polls now. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gary Nupa. Toastmaster Sonia, were all the speeches within time?
Yes, they were, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. The second section of our meeting is table topics. This is an opportunity for the members to develop their extemporaneous speaking skills. This is impromptu speaking. Guests, my dear guest Sonia, would you be willing to participate if you were called upon? Thank you so much for your positivity. Before we move on, we want to welcome our Toastmaster, Micheline Nemhard. And I urge you also to use the word of the day, prodigious. Prodigious. Thank you, Toastmaster. For table topics, Micheline Nemhard.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Our guest Sonia and Yayan Green, fellow Toastmasters and digitaries, Good evening. One of the most exciting portion of Toastmasters meeting is table topics. The main objective is to challenge members to develop their impromptu communication skills, to effectively thinking on their feet by answering unrehearsed questions. We also want to give every opportunity to every person that do not have a main speaking role the opportunity to speak. Today, as a table topic master, I will be asking some questions related to a topic, and I will share the topic right now. The main focus of this is to do an introduction. Introduction is one of our common things that we need to do as speakers and communicators. So we are going to give an introduction, 1 to 2 minutes, about the item that I will share. Hopefully I can get this. Share screen. Can you all see it? We are going to be building a salad, and I will call on one person to give an introduction on an item of the salad. So my first person is Gary Newbert, Toastmaster Gary Newbert. Please give an introduction on tomatoes.
Thank you, Topics Master Micheline. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and dignitary here on green. This evening, I'll be talking about wonderful, luscious, red tomatoes. No salad would be incomplete, or any salad would be incomplete without tomatoes. As far as I'm concerned, that's what makes a salad for me. There's nothing better than walking through the vegetable section and trying to find the most brightly red, juicy tomatoes to be able to take home for my wife to prepare a delicious salad for dinner. I think if there was one vegetable that I could grow in our backyard, it would have to be tomatoes. Topic master of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary. That's wonderful. We're thinking on our feet and we want to have fun, so relax. We're talking about a salad bowl. So our next person is Toastmaster Mayana. Will you have the opportunity to describe carrots, introduce carrots to the club this evening?
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. And as many of you know, the table topics provides me with or gives me a prodigious amount of nervousness. But the topics of carrots, I think I can speak to that. So carrots in a salad are remarkable. In my family of 5, I am the only person in the family that eats carrots. They don't understand the health benefits of carrots, how it's good for your eyes. It helps to increase your vision. The keratin is just an important aspect of the diet. And I think it's vitamin B that carrots, or keratin, that carrots provide. Carrots can be chopped, they can be sliced, they can be shredded, and they actually taste like nothing. So having carrots in a salad, there's no reason not to add a carrot when there's some health benefits added to it. Toastmaster Micheline, thank you.
That was great. We're getting creative here. Next person, Sonia. Sonia, our guest, you're going to describe or introduce cucumbers to the group.
Ooh. Okay, Thank you so much for calling on me. So cucumbers are amazing. They're a very versatile vegetable. If you put them in brine, you can make pickles. Everybody loves pickles, right? They go great on sandwiches and things like that. But as their normal state, they have a lot of good benefits too. You can put them on your eyes in order to increase hydration underneath. You can put them in your water along with some mint sometimes to give it a little bit of flavor. You can go to Bath and Body Works and pick up some cucumber melon spray stuff and smell wonderful. Cucumbers are a fantastic, fantastic vegetable. So versatile. It's awesome to have in salad because you're just going to get extra hydration. And who doesn't want that? Right? Cucumbers. Oh, I'm done. Okay.
Thank you, Sonia. That was awesome. Do we have one more? Time for one more, I think? Okay. Again, salad is our topic. And our next next Toastmaster is Julie. Yay!
Yay!
Julie, we are going to talk about sweet peppers, and you can pick any color or talk all about sweet peppers. Introduce the sweet peppers to the group.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. Sweet peppers, one of my favorites because they are so colorful and you can get them red, green, yellow, and if you let them sit around long enough, they'll change colors on you right at home. I like them because you can slice them, you can dice them, you can saute them, you can put them in oil and jar them and keep them for long periods of time. But no matter how you prepare them, you can always toss them in a salad and they're delicious. I love to season them with oregano, salt, and pepper and toss them on a salad. I like to dip them in hummus and again, throw that on the salad as well. Very delicious. Those are the various different ways to prepare them and to eat them, but their vitamin content is amazing. Whenever you eat vegetables that have so many bright colors like that, they have so many antioxidants in them that it's good for your body and it's very healthy. They also contain a lot of water in them, so it's good for hydration as well. Peppers, I cannot speak enough about them because they, like I said, they're delicious and they're just wonderful to eat and the flavor is amazing. Also, peppers, they last a long time too. So not only in a salad today and tomorrow, but 4 or 5 days later, they're still fresh and crispy and you can continue to eat, put them in a salad 2 to 3 days down the road. So for me, peppers are delicious, they're nutritious, they're colorful and pretty, and I enjoy eating them fresh all the time. Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline.
Awesome. Thank you all for participating. I think that concludes our topics section this evening. How is the timing signal? Oh, actually, I'm going to turn it back to Toastmaster Michelle. Thank you so much.
You're on mute, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Micheline Demhard, for that excellent and different table topic. So, Toastmaster Sonia Garate, could you tell us if all the speakers were on time?
Yes, Toastmaster of the day, all of our table topic speakers were within time.
Okay, for today, we had Gary Newper, Mayana Hammond, Sonia McCall, and Julie Graves as participants. Please also remember to give your positive feedback in the chat and also on our app if you don't have time this evening. Thank you so much for the guests who participate. Please go ahead and use the polls to vote.
Polling's complete. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gary Newport. At this time, we have come to the third and final section of our meeting. This is the process of evaluation, the gift of instant feedback, a key part of the success of the Toastmaster program. Please welcome Toastmaster Shay Graves, our General Evaluator. Toastmaster Shay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle, for such a lovely introduction. I have the pleasure of commenting on the overall quality of our meeting. That is my phone alarm. Please, may I have the timer demonstrate the timing signals for our speech evaluations?
Certainly, Toastmaster Shay. So I'll be using the same countdown clock as before, and it will look like this. Let me show you. And it will be green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and red at 3 minutes.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonia. Now I have evaluating Mark Kessler, our first speaker, Jack Miller. Let's give a round of applause for Jack Miller. Please unmute yourself.
I think I am. I'm there, right? Can you hear me? Okay, mic check. Thank you, everybody. Well, Mark prodigiously provided us with a playful, powerful, and provocative performance while providing us a path to playing with the voices in our head. I didn't know where Mark was going to go with this, but he really put a lot into studying and trying and humorously providing us powerful, passionate information. Telling us about the different voices in our head, the negative Nellies, the compassionate voices, and the voices in his head more specifically. He really told his story and let us relate to it through him. And I really loved that. It really thought, what can I have done to make that any better? And one of the few things I could find that might make it a little bit better is every time, Mark, you talked about a cat, and if you really acted out that scene or trained and kind of threw a little bit more emotion in one way or another in the different phases, but your eye contact was so exceptional. The characters that you did play, the different voices, you really went all out. I think you've got the makings of a talk that can go all the way, and I'm confident that you'll be able to do that. I look forward to every time I hear you. You've only been in Toastmasters for a little while, but you've been a comedian all your life. So, and moving forward, I'm honored to be your friend, a Toastmaster with you, and look forward to many, many more. I'm complete.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack Miller, for that evaluation. I'd like to call Sujana Tulahard, evaluating Toastmaster Stacey Kessler's speech. Let's give her a warm welcome, and please unmute yourself.
Thank you, General Evaluator. First of all, I feel really honored to evaluate my mentor. Stacy used to be my mentor for months. Tonight is the first time I'm evaluating her, so I feel really honored to do so. So before going in, Stacy asked me to focus on 3 different areas: organization, value, and relatable to the audience. Let's start off with organization. She hit the nail on the organization. She started off with saying, I have 2 points tonight. And then she led us into 5 attributes about the speech. Some of the things that I really like is she called us for action. She asked us to get a pen and paper, and I could see some of us were taking notes. And then about the value, I really like the positivity that came with it. John Maxwell, I think, was one of the author you were mentioning about the quotes that was really, do you listen to hear or do you hear to listen? That was great. And then throughout, there were a couple of positive things that you mentioned about the optimism, demonstration of integrity. Those were all good. And the quiz that you took and you showed us the PowerPoint, I was thinking, where can I take that so that I can understand what my leadership tendency is? So those are all good when it came to organization value. Areas of improvement, relatability, I would say I struggle a little bit on that. When I was taking notes on 5 attributes, you give a lot of emphasis on effective communication. I was like, what is the second one? What is the third one? So the flow was it was a little difficult to follow that. So other than that, I think overall, yes, it was greatly organized. The value was there for sure. Overall, it was a great speech. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sujana, for that thorough evaluation. Finally, last but not least, I'd like to call on Toastmaster Shastri Stewart, evaluating our speaker, Keon Green. Let's give a warm welcome to Toastmaster Shastri Stewart. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, Madam General Evaluator, and guests and dignitaries. Today, I will be evaluating Keon Green, our dignitary, and a longtime Wellington Toastmaster. And typically, I would provide points before I speak about a speaker, but today I'm just gonna go through with my feelings. I'm gonna be into my feelings today because I love evaluating Keon Green. First of all, the way you started your speech, you said, the question I'm going to ask. You didn't even ask the question yet. You went into that question, holding our attention. What is she gonna ask? What is she gonna ask? We were engaged, we were waiting to hear what you were gonna say. And then you stated the question. Your cadence and pace was flawless. Your pauses were deafening. Don't wait. The delivery was natural. Whenever you give a speech, it's always natural. I feel like I'm talking to you over a beer, over drinks, over a party. I feel like you and I could be friends. And the way that you delivered the speech was exquisite. Storytelling, you told us a story. You kept us engaged the entire time. Excellent job. Now, in regards to body language, I firmly believe that you're a master. Even though you were sitting down, we were able to see your body. You moved your hands when you said, I read the entire email. You touched your chest when you spoke about yourself. I love that. And then you also had wonderful eye contact. Your smile was joyful. Now, since this is an evaluation, I need to provide some feedback where you could improve on. And there was very few things I could mention. But one thing was, since this was a vocal variety type of speech, I would love to see more variation in your vocal variety and pace and tone. Also, I would love if you had integrated emotion a little bit more into your speech. Honestly, Jan, whenever I evaluate you, I am always so impressed. You're such an eloquent speaker. I still remember the story that you told us that one day you were called on from work and you didn't know what to say. You were stumped. And after that day, you decided to join Toastmasters and you joined multiple clubs and you went multiple times in the week to learn to be a proficient speaker. And 10, 12 years later, you're an exemplary speaker. And I'm always glad to evaluate you. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shastri. Thank you for such thorough, beautiful, and respectful, humble evaluations. I'd like to now call on some of our functionary roles to give us the report. May I have the grammarian's report for today?
General Evaluator. The word prodigious was correctly used 6 times during the meeting. I heard the following grammatical errors. In what my experience is could probably have been based on my experience. Effective communication, am I? I think that was meant to be, am I an effective communicator? And then she hit the nail on the organization. Should probably have been, she hit the nail on the head regarding the organization. There were a lot of notable words and phrases, and Shastri was poetic in his evaluation, but some of the notable words and phrases from this evening were, you've been criticizing yourself for so many years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. Table topics gives me a prodigious amount of nervousness. Can't quite remember what Mayana said, but I'm going with nervousness. And then your pauses were deafening. That concludes the grammarian's report. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you for paying such detailed attention. I love those notable phrases that you pointed out. I would write them down, but they happen so fast. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to call on the odd counters report for today's meeting. Please unmute yourself.
General Evaluator. The total number of fillers used by the club today is 13. The most fillers used by a member was 3. And the most commonly used filler word today, it wasn't filler words, they were double starts and long pauses. The following Toastmasters did not use any filler words or during the meeting, and that would be Sonia, Stacy, Jan, Mayana, Jack, Susanna, and Shastri. And that concludes my counter report, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Julie. It sounds like we did a good job overall on accounting. And now to commenting on the overall quality of the meeting. Now, did our meeting start on time? I believe it did. I know we'd like to wait because sometimes there is trouble logging in or whatever is happening on the back end, but this allows us as a club to step into flexibility and paying attention to be able to cover one another. On that note, I'd like all of us to give ourselves a pat on the back or a round of applause, whatever feels better, or a hug. And rock, I like to rock with my hugs. I think we all did a really good job when it comes to flexibility, covering one another, paying attention to what was missing, and communicating. I'd like to highlight Stacy for stepping in, Gary, Michelle as our Toastmaster of the day. I think this is a skill set that as a club and in Toastmasters, you're gonna have to use very often, and flash back to us first transitioning to this platform, it was very different. So I just want to commemorate this moment for you guys for stepping into flexibility and being stretched in that way. Next, I'd like to jump into our table topics. Was so creative. I love the sharing of the image and inviting us again to step into flexibility, being put on the spot, and to really embrace that. Everyone, including our guest Sonia, did a beautiful job. I just would encourage you, you can always end by transitioning back to the Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. And when you feel that you're complete, but you did a beautiful job. And I love the way that each speaker was able to add value by highlighting nutrition and giving us a little lesson in our table topics. Next, I would I'd like to jump into our evaluators, who did an excellent job respecting and honoring their speaker. I think that is such a beautiful way to bring positivity both to our club and encourage them to keep going as speakers. Jack Miller, I love how you highlighted the ways that you connected with the speech itself and the ways the audience could potentially connect. I would just encourage in the future that we want to also highlight more mechanics, more structure, more overall flow, so that the speaker can improve on functionality of delivery more than just the content. But I love how you pay attention and fall in love with every speaker that you evaluate. Also highlighting Sujana, again, I love how you highlight mechanics, showing honor and respect as your transition. And I love the quality of your feedback. I think that it was very poignant, spot on. Finally, Shastri Stewart, I love how you become the ultimate fanboy, just for the sake of the name, fanboy of Hyun every time she speaks. And Hyun, it's hard to picture you struggling to jump into any career because you are such a bright and shining star. So I just want to thank you again for such an awesome meeting, even the way that we transitioned through table topics. Also, Sonia Harate for including our timer for the new way that we're using it in our meetings. I hope that transcends to each member because it is very helpful and supportive. Will we end on time? It is 8:02, so we're yet to see. Thank you. And dignitaries were acknowledged. Back to our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator. At this time, I will call our Toastmaster President, Shastri Stewart, to the floor.
We still need to vote on evaluations.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes, so at this time, we'll take our polls. Thank you so much.
Polling is complete. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Again, we'll call on our president, Shastri Stewart, to give us a few words. Thank you so much.
Michelle, I believe, well, I guess, are we gonna, am I gonna speak and then we do the ribbons? I guess the polls are not ready.
Gary, are the polls ready?
Yes, the results are ready whenever we are for them.
Okay, so we could go ahead and do our results. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Gary.
So, thank you everyone for the great evening. I think we had some amazing speakers, evaluators, and table topics. So let's recognize a few awards this evening. Our first place speaker for the evening goes to Toastmaster Hyun Green. Our first place speaker for table topics this evening goes to Toastmaster Julie. And last but not least, our first place evaluator for the evening goes to Toastmaster Shastri. Back to you, President Shastri.
All right, awesome. Thank you all for doing such a wonderful job. Thank you, Gary, for doing, what was it, judicious job. And we're at 8:05, so I'll move on to our guest. We really want to highlight our guest and see how she thought of our meeting. So Sonia, I'm gonna call on you and give me some feedback on our meeting tonight.
I've never been to a Toastmasters meeting before. I didn't know what it was before Michelle told me. And I'm actually really glad that I came. This was very informative. I got to learn a new word. I actually did have to look up prodigious. I got to listen to some very amazing, informative speeches, and I'm getting to walk away with some new knowledge about stuff that I didn't know before. So I'm happy.
Awesome. And feel free to join us next week. We have our meeting every Mondays. I'm sure Michelle probably told you. So feel free to join us again. And if you'd like, you could stay behind and speak to our VP of Membership, Micheline, who will provide you some additional information about our program.
Okay.
Yes. Also, with that said, we do have an Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, which Gary has placed in the chat. So please feel free to subscribe to our channel, YouTube, like our Facebook page, and also our Instagram page. We really are trying to get out there. So if you're able to share it with your friends and people that you think it might benefit, please do so. Okay? All right. Toastmaster of the day for next week is Michelle, correct? Yes?
So next week, we actually have a guest speaker. So we will be doing table topics, but we have a guest speaker doing the speeches component. So Michelle can be Toastmaster the following week.
Okay.
Won't we still need a Toastmaster for the meeting, even though we have the guests?
Yeah, we'll still need, yes, we would still need a Toastmaster. That's correct.
We just won't have like 3 speakers, but
right.
We'll still need a Toastmaster.
Okay, so yeah, Michelle.
Yeah, and the goal is to fill the agenda within 48 hours. So if you can, please go on tonight or tomorrow and sign on for a functionary role. If you did a role tonight and you will be at our meeting next week, just sign up for that role again. All right.
Then they're going to be different with the guest speaker.
It might slightly be different, but we'll still have the same roles, you know, give or take. We'll just have the guest speaker as a speaker, and then we have evaluations and still have table topics. All right. Okay. All right. So one more thing I wanted to. Shay, what is the guest speaker's topic? Is it evaluations?
It is pathways.
Pathways, okay. All right.
Support us. And on that note, I'd like to encourage all of our speakers and our members to make sure to keep your pathways updated. I'd like to highlight our Toastmasters, Mark Kessler and Stacey Kessler, for being the pacemakers in that area. You guys are doing an excellent job.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, good kudos. All right, so now we at 8:08. A few things on the agenda that we really want to do in the next month or so is to actually trial out a physical location meeting to see how that goes. Again, we'll still be having a hybrid format where we'll have our Zoom and the physical location to see how that goes. So that is coming soon to a theater near you. All right, without further ado, it's 8:09. Thank you all for a wonderful meeting. If there's no other announcements, I adjourn the meeting.
Good night.
Bye.